What is spirituality? Here is a quote from the Philokalia. The heart itself is just a small vessel, yet dragons are there, and there are also lions. There are venomous beasts, and all storage of evil. But there too is God, the angels, life and the kingdom, the light and the apostles, heavenly cities and treasuries of grace. All things are there. Spirituality is to the soul what fitness is to the body, and what education is to the mind. We all have a mind, but we don't necessarily educate it. We all have a body, but we don't necessarily keep fit. We all have a soul, but we don't necessarily engage in spiritual growth. In other words, spirituality is a healthy, nourished, vibrant, cultivated condition of the soul. If we do not exercise the body, we have no fitness. If we do not exercise our mind, we have no education or formation. If we do not exercise the soul, we have no spirituality. People go to the gym and they exercise, they grow stronger. They feel fitter and virile. But how true is it that the other two aspects, that of learning and spiritual growth, could often be lacking, even entirely, in our life? How often do we see, as the phrase says, brawn but no brains? A similar thing can be said about academics and people of knowledge and science, of which all of us are, including myself. How often do we see brilliant minds in atrophied bodies, or detached and distant from reality or the world, and even desensitized to what we would call humaneness, anthropia. You can have science, you can have an education, but not have anthropia. How often did we have to see that through history? So spirituality, an elusive state of being. When do we see it? Can we even identify it if we saw it in someone? Is it a rare thing? What is it? What is spirituality? Here is a quote from the Philokalia. The heart itself is just a small vessel, yet dragons are there, and there are also lions. There are venomous beasts, and all storage of evil. But there too is God, the angels, life and the kingdom, the light and the apostles, heavenly cities and treasuries of grace. All things are there. In other words, in here, in our heart, there is a whole world, the spiritual world, the spiritual dimension. And most of us keep it closed, hidden, lost, forgotten. In fact, most of us convince ourselves that this dimension does not even exist. We always hear the phrase body and soul. Body referring to what is material, and soul referring to what is immaterial. Our thoughts and our feelings, for example, they are immaterial. There's no atoms and molecules involved with thoughts and feelings. In the Orthodox Christian tradition, we dissect this further. We have the body, then the mind, the realm of the intellect, and then the heart, the realm of the spirit. These three are, of course, a trinity. They are in union. But the dichotomy, or the definition of each separately, allows us to better understand our inner person, our inner being. Let's take this deeper. Let's go to basic linguistic etymology. In both English and Greek, the basic building block of the concept of the word or term spirituality has to do with breathing. Pneo, I breathe. Ispneo, I breathe in. Pnoi, breath. Embneo, I breathe in, but also inspire. Pneuma, spirit. Pneumatikotita, spirituality. So you can see how spirit, inspiration, spirituality has to do with our breathing. The fact that we live and there is life in this. Breathing might be a reflex. It happens on its own. We may not notice it, but it is there, happening in the background. We can learn how to control it. For example, swimmers, divers, singers, but we cannot stop it. If we stop breathing, we die. St. John, the golden-mouthed Chrysostomos, uses the image of breathing to describe spirituality. Listen to this. The sun gives forth light. He cannot help doing so. Animals breathe in and out. They cannot help doing so. Fish swim in rivers and the sea. They cannot help doing so. What then are the things that a Christian cannot help doing? First of all, a Christian cannot help praying. To be a Christian is to regard God as a loving Father, and it is natural to talk and to listen to one's parents. Second, a Christian cannot help praising God and giving praise to Him. To be a Christian is to affirm God as creator of the universe. And when a Christian looks at the beauty and glory of what God has made, praise and thanksgiving pour from the lips. What we do here every single service. Third, St. John Chrysostom continues, a Christian cannot help being generous. To be a Christian is to acknowledge that everything belongs to God and that human beings are merely stewards of what they possess. So they naturally want to share their possessions with those in need. Fourth, a Christian cannot help but reading the Scriptures and also studying the insights of other Christians. To be a Christian is to rejoice in the power of the Holy Spirit, and the Spirit speaks to us through the insights of our spiritual brothers and sisters. That's St. John Chrysostom in the 400s AD, and that's one of the bits you will find in the Philokalia. And so, to have a healthy spirit, to be spiritual, we need to be aware of the Spirit, aware of it, that it exists, that we nourish the Spirit within us, that we cultivate the Spirit within us, letting the Spirit grow. Which brings us to the Christian idea of growing up spiritually. First letter to the Corinthians, chapter 13, maturing to the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. To be a Christian is not just I signed a piece of paper or someone signed one for me when I was a baby and that's it. Or I signed up as a member somewhere at some club. No. To be a Christian is that you're growing. And if you're not growing, that's a problem. Maturing. Baptism represents our spiritual birth, the beginning of that journey of growth. And the Philokalia uses the image of a newborn baby to describe how growth occurs after baptism. That's each and every one of us. The same way we grow physically, we should be growing spiritually. Possessing all the limbs it will ever have, a baby is already complete. Yes? Yet it still has to grow. Thus, it is quite true to say that we receive the life of the Spirit through baptism. And baptism is valid and true, but it's only the beginning. We still have to make progress by growing in the new life of a Christian. Only so will the Spirit grow within us and become manifest as it makes us perfect. The word perfect means complete. Finally, growing up has to do with development. It has to do with change. We actually have to change. Change for the better. We need renewal and we need fresh starts in life. The Greek word for temple or the church building is naos. And naos means the ark, the ship, like Noah's ark. Naos, navy, they're all related words. But with Noah's ark, writes St. John Chrysostom once again, the rooster entered the ark a rooster, and a rooster it departed. The wolf entered the ark a wolf, and a wolf it departed. But when someone enters the ark of the church, they enter a rooster and depart as a dove. One enters a wolf and departs as a lamb. One enters as a caterpillar and departs as a butterfly. That's what you'll find in the Philokalia. So please look it up on the internet. You can find copies there. It's a 4-volume collection of such beautiful phrases and words, waking us up to the realm of the Spirit that we talked about today. And there's a key to enter that realm, and that's next week's topic. The key to enter that realm is prayer. And we should talk about prayer next week.